There are so many little moments of women just going, I'm sick of you and I'm just going to do it myself.
I love when women stick up for themselves. Yeah, when we start rebelling a little bit. And it shouldn't even be called rebelling. It should just be like, we're just taking our power back.
Hi, everybody at home. I'm Amelia Emberwing, and I am here with the woman, the myth, the legend, Helen Boots herself, Saraya.
Hello. How do you say your last name? Emberwing?
Emberwing.
Is that a stage name?
Oh, yeah, that's mad fake.
I was like, that's the coolest last name I have ever heard in my life. You're like a fairy. I love it.
Thank you. I made it up myself.
Yeah, it's awesome. Good job.
Thank you. So your book, which just, can we pause for a second before we dive into this and talk about the fact that you wrote a whole freaking book?
I know.
That's hard.
It took 2 years.
Yeah.
And like, I actually had a ghostwriter and she was so wonderful, really was wonderful. But she made me sound like I was out of the cast of Annie a little bit. So I kind of had to rewrite the whole thing. And so me and my friend Taylor was just like, we ended up getting it done. It was amazing, but it's the most fulfilling thing I've done. But it's the most frustrating thing I've done. Oh my gosh, it was just a lot of work. A lot of trying to remember everything is really hard. I'm telling you, it's a lot of brain power. But yeah, I'm glad I got it. I'm glad I got it done.
Yeah. So there are so many intimate moments in it that involve not just you but your family. How did those conversations go when you were talking to your folks about, I'm about to tell our story, not fighting with my family style, like the real stuff? Oh,
my family are amazing. If people know my family, if you don't know, they're very, very supportive, and they want me to be like, they want me to tell my truth, whatever it is, like they want me to get out there. And like again, when it comes to like telling some stories too, that I actually got them involved. So, when I was doing the ghostwriter at the beginning, we would be on like a Zoom call and I would have my family on, and then just so they can get like their side of things in there, like how they were feeling at the time, etc., all that kind of stuff. So they were definitely involved in it, and I love that, and I'm glad that they're involved in it. There's a lot of tough stories that me and my family have gone through, especially me and my brother. So it's it was rough going through it, and like being able to speak to Zach about certain things from our childhood that we weren't so open about, until obviously recently. But you know what, it's like very therapeutic at the same time, because we got it off our chest. We got to we managed to speak to our parents about certain things that they didn't know what was going on, so it was very therapeutic. And I'm glad that I decided to do a book so I can get it off my chest a little bit. Yeah.
These moments, they're so devastating in a lot of ways, but also like you can tell in the writing that it was also therapeutic.
Yeah.
But it also speaks so much to you and Zach's relationship, which has always been really, really prevalent in your career. Obviously WWE turned him away. We finally got him on AEW, and he got to do Wembley, and just, the two of you, your relationship has always been so remarkable to watch throughout the ages.
Yeah, we grew up like twins. Everyone used to think we were twins until he like got really tall. And everyone always thinks I'm the older one, by the way. Okay, he's older, 14 months. Let's not forget about that. But no, we grew up together, but we really grew up together. We're like we lived in each other's pockets. Like we went through everything together, from like childhood trauma up until and business side of things too. Like even now he's doing a food truck, and I'm really proud of him. He does jacket potatoes, and he called it Zacket potatoes. And I helped him buy the food truck and get him started, and he's just killing it. And I'm so proud of him. So I'm like his business partner in that. Like it's something outside of wrestling, but yeah, it's great. I'm so proud of him. I cried when he did his debut for AEW. He came backstage. Everyone come around him, because everyone's just want him to succeed. He's like the ultimate underdog.
It's been such a saga.
Yeah, for real. And so everyone was just so pleased for him, and it just was really nice to see. I kind of took a step back and let him take that moment in, and then I come up to him, I was just crying. I was like, I'm so proud of you, And that was one of the big catalysts of why I actually went to AEW, because both the companies at the time, I had an option right here. And one of the biggest things that made me go to AEW was the fact that Tony was so welcoming of my brother, and he wanted my brother to be there, so he signed him. And that is the selling point for me. I was like, wow, my brother's gonna get a chance. I've done what I've needed to do in wrestling. I'm sure I have something left in the tank, you know, but I am coming to the end of it. And I just want Zach to have his moment. So that was like a big thing. I was like, okay, if you sign my brother, I'll be there. Yeah.
So you mentioned his food truck, and you talk a lot in your book about your mom being a Jill of all trades, but it's very true for your whole family, it seems. And that's rare in wrestling families. Like so, like wrestling is in your blood. It's what you know, it's what you do. But there are so few people that have something else that they can do when this is over. All they can think about is wrestling. To so many wrestlers' detriment, like not in their performance, but in the fact that their bodies are just breaking down, and they like, bless Jeff Hardy. Please take care of yourself.
Yeah, take a break.
Take a break. But so, like, talk to me about your parents instilling that curiosity in you, I guess, because you do go explore these other things. You know, Zach's got his food truck. You just wrote a book. The film itself, you know, all of these things.
So, yeah, like when I was growing up, wrestling was, we eat, breathe, wrestling. It was a big thing within my family. And even when, like, you know, I had my neck surgery or whatever, injuries weren't looked at as a big deal in my family either, you know? And so, like, I say in the book about how I got hit by a car and wrestled the same day because my dad was like, can you wiggle your toes? And I'm like, yeah. And then he was like, all right, like, we have a wrestling show to go to, you know? So I've always just had that, like, you kind of just push everything down, you know, when it comes to like injuries and taking care of yourself. And a lot of wrestlers get like that. They're like, show must go on kind of thing. And you don't want to miss an opportunity, because as soon as you take a break out, someone's going to come in and they'll take your spot. And then, you know, like it was always quite competitive in a way. So you never wanted to, like, you know, show your cards when it comes to like how you were feeling and stuff. And and when it comes to wrestling and doing stuff outside of it, like wrestling's always going to be like my love. It's always going to be my first love. I'm always going to adore it. I am coming to the point in time where I'm like, wrestling's gave me so many opportunities, and I love it. So doing the book, I have my pod show coming out called Rule Breakers. And then, you know, I have these acting opportunities that are coming up, which I'm really excited about. Like big roles, which I never thought I would get. So I'm really excited for that big announcement to be made. But yeah, it's just, there's a lot going on, and wrestling is definitely the thing that gave me everything that I've ever wanted and needed. And it came with like the ups and downs, of course. But yeah, I'm definitely coming to the end of it, I think. And I'm only going to be 33 this year, which isn't old, but I have been in the business for a very long time, and I haven't really taken care of my body for a very long time. And again, that's one of the catalysts of why I took a bunch of time off too recently, because I'm like, you need time to heal. And as wrestlers, we don't. Yeah. We look at the wrestlers you just mentioned, and like we get older and we never want to retire and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, this is my cue, I think, to like take a step back.
I want to circle back to something that you said. You were talking about your dad. And for people at home, I need to stress, because the book hasn't come out just yet, but getting hit by a car was not a euphemism. That is real.
No, that's real.
But just, it's prevalent in the wrestling world, but it's such a dad mentality to be like, does it move? Yeah. Go.
Toughen up.
And it like breaks all of us in a way. We're just like, well, why haven't you been to the doctor? Because I'm not sick. Okay. No. I was raised, I'm not broken, but in the, you know, you're not broken, does it wiggle? But also just on the flip side, I'm not going to go into specifics because I want people to come to this part of the story on their own. But your dad's response when you called him after the leak.
Oh, yeah.
I burst into tears like a cartoon character.
Did? I did. I cried when I was writing it, dude. It was just crazy.
There's no correct way to respond to that moment. And then you read his response and you're like, just kidding. There's absolutely a correct way to respond to this moment. And just dads, man.
Yeah.
Dads.
And, you know, he's always been really tough when it comes to, like, he gives tough love. Even when I first came over for WWE, he was just like, stop crying to your pillow. Like, I was extremely homesick. I was young, you know. And so, like, in this moment, I'm like, I just need my dad at this time. You know, I really do. And I was so worried that he'd be so disappointed in me and he'd be so upset at me. And I was just like, I was at the end of my rope here. I was very close to like maybe not being around today because of all this stuff, you know? And so he just gave the most perfect response, and I'll let you guys read it in the book, but it was full of humor and it was just a lot of love too. And yeah, I like, anytime I think about it, I was just like, this is make or break for me. If my dad doesn't like it, I don't think I can handle being around anymore. Yeah. And he was just, it was magical, and he saved my life that day for sure.
God, it's It was so again, like a cartoon
I'm glad
character.
That made you feel something. No, it made me feel something.
Because like it's just like you put yourself in those shoes in that moment, and you're just like, oh my god, and just so. Great job, Papa Knight. Just amazing, incredible.
Yeah.
So I want to shift gears a little bit because not a huge part of your career, your whole professional career has been forwarding the women's revolution in wrestling.
Yeah.
And we had that big moment in 2018 where everything was announced and we're breaking the glass ceiling and we're moving forward, and a bunch of people were like, well, women's wrestling is fixed. And it was such a watershed moment. Like, I remember crying when it happened. Stephanie's got everybody in the ring. Everybody raises their hands together. Nia's pulling Alexa off the mat. It's such a touching moment, and it was a huge moment for the progression of wrestling, but we've also got so much work left to do.
It goes up and down all the time.
It does.
Yeah.
You see it come in waves, but after that second injury, everything that you have done has been getting other women over in the respective companies. We saw it with you with Absolution in WWE, and then you immediately came over to AEW and took Harley under your wing. You worked with Ruby again, Toni. Talk to me about why that has been such an important part of your career.
Well, first of all, I want women's wrestling to succeed, and I want people to take everybody seriously, and I want the girls who I want every female to succeed, but obviously I have the girls that I'm really like, you got this, and it would be selfish of me to do anything else other than that. We all have to work together to make this thing a better place, and if I'm just focusing on myself, it's not going to go anywhere, and then it gets to a point where people are going to be like, F this I'm a cusser. Sorry guys, I'm trying not to.
Don't worry about it. We'll leave it up.
People will think I'm selfish and just in business for myself, and I don't ever want people to think like that. I want everyone to succeed. I'm very pro female wrestler, and I know when I'm supposed to step down. I know when I'm supposed to take a pin. I know all these things, and I love doing it. Like, there was nothing more I wanted to do than to potentially come back and take a pin from Harley, because she needs it, and she's taken all these losses, and people are loving her, and she's amazing, and she's getting herself over, and I told her the best thing I ever did was take a couple of months away so you can have the floor, and I told her before I left, because she was a little nervous, so I was like, listen, I'm going to take some time off. And she was just like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And I was like, you'll figure it out. You got this. This is your time to shine. And I cried when she had a moment when she was in Australia, in her home country, and she did the entrance and stuff. I cried. I thought that was just a beautiful moment, and she so well deserved. And she's only been in the business 2 years.
Right.
Isn't that so bizarre to be where she is right now after 2 years? I mean, she has it.
She fascinates me in every way because she is such a wildly talented human being. Speaking of Jills of all trades, you can do ventriloquy. I forgot the word.
Yeah.
She is an insane vocalist.
Yeah, she has Mariah Carey vocals. She can do the whistle notes.
It's wild.
She can speak Chinese.
Yeah, and it's just seeing how far she's come just on promos alone. When bless you AEW, but the whole Truth TV or whatever it was, that entire segment was terrible, not by the fault of anybody put in it. No. And you see her going a mile a minute there even, and
she's
you're just
always shining.
You go everywhere
and
she
whatever
goes.
she goes in. Yeah, she is always shining, and she is one of the most just wonderful, genuine, sweet human beings, and I trust her with everything I have. And I told her, 'cause she was just on my show the other day, I was just listen, I've loved my career. I've had a really wonderful career. I've worked with really amazing people. I've loved everybody that I worked with, but she's been the most fun I've ever had in my career. It just every day was the ball. And we were put on Rampage and stuff like that. We're kind of shoved on Rampage a lot of the time, and we made the most of it, and we were having fun while doing it. And I just loved it, and I'm really thankful that Toni decided to put me and her together. I was like, heck yeah. Because since in my AEW, time, I've only ever been with a group, except from my first debut, But I've only ever been with a group, and every time it's just been freaking great. Toni and Ruby, loved them. Going to go into something with Harley, wonderful. I've had a great time.
Yeah. So you mentioned, we're talking about how you exclusively have gotten women over in your time here, but let's talk about Wembley. Let's talk about that, like a moment that you truly took for you. And I know that you didn't know what the outcome was going in, but just being from the UK, getting the opportunity to wrestle at Wembley Stadium, just how was that for you?
It was magical, dude. Like, I cried when Toni told me, like, by the ring. It was like, he told me like it was like an obvious answer. Like, you're going, and I was like, what? And I just thought like I would never get an opportunity to be a champ again. Yeah. That was the thing. So I came back, and well, even before that, when I was out, I thought that was it. My career was over. I never thought I would ever wrestle again. Then to have the opportunity to come back, and then to also be trusted with a championship, it was just, it was very surreal. I cried. I having them be a part of it too. And then Toni and that surprising me with Queen walking out. I asked for it, but I didn't think so. It's expensive, you know, but like, I'm like, hey, if you happen to, want to get a new song out there, like, let's do Queen, we will rock you. The Brits will love it. Yeah. And but yeah, they surprised me with that, and I was just so bloody over the moon. I was so happy. Like, I just couldn't believe it. And then the crowd liked it. I've been a little rough coming back when it comes to fans and stuff. Like, for some reason they can hate me for whatever it is. I don't know, it was a past relationship or whatever it is. Like, there was always something that they were just not liking me for, which I've seen it like a little kind of 180 turn recently. I'm gonna say why, but but it's been rough because I just been constantly shit on by these fans, and like, so I had to delete social media off my phone. So when they actually cheered when I won, I was like, that was a pleasant surprise. I was like, oh, people are actually happy for me. And then I go back to Wembley next year and they're like, boo, I'm like, fair enough.
Oh, wrestling fans, fickle. So, speaking of pleasant surprises, you are a member of the Never Wrestling Again crew. Yes. We've got three miracles in AEW. We've got you, we've got Bryan Danielson, who is not there currently, but we all know it's nebulous. Yeah. And then, we've got Edge. And
also Christian too. Yeah. People forget about Christian, and he had to do like a comeback. I feel like it was more like lower key, but just so people know, like, him too. But yeah, we had to get a picture in the ring. I mocked out. I was like, hey, Adam, you think we can get a picture really quick? Yeah. I just like loved that we were all in the ring together. I was like, this is so crazy.
Yeah, you're all miracles. Yeah. Like, your careers were over. And something that not a lot of people quantify, I think, is like, when you came back, I was watching that pay-per-view at home, and we watch Sasha's kick hit, and the moment you go to your knees, everybody in the room knew.
Yes.
Everybody just, you go to your knee and your hand shakes and everybody went,
yeah.
No.
Oh, no. The first person that was there for me when I came backstage was Bray. Miss him so much, but it was scary, dude. The whole thing was scary. And I remember not crying in the ring. I just knew that it was over. I knew it was over. And so, I see Bailey, she's got tears in her eyes and stuff. And the girls, Mandy and Sonya are so new. They're like, what the heck is going on, And so, yeah, it was just, it was a crazy moment. And I was like, I refuse to be stretched out. I was like, let me just get my feelings back.
Yeah.
But yeah, the feeling did come back, which thank gosh, because it was like jelly. I couldn't feel anything. I was trying to grab Sasha's leg and shit and stuff. And it was very crazy. And then I get back and Bray's like right there as soon as I come through the curtain. He was like, oh my God, are you okay? And I'm like, dude, it's over. Like, my career's over. I just know it. And he was like, don't say that. And he like gave me a big hug, and he's like walking with me to like the doc's office and stuff. And then, yeah, I'm just in the office and I'm just like, I know it's over. So like, they're like, okay, we're going to get you in with Dr. Maroon tomorrow. We're going to fly you to Pittsburgh. We're going to see what's up. So I did. The next day I flew to Pittsburgh, and I got told I'd never wrestle again, like literally the day after. And then I had to go through like all these big moments knowing that I was going to be a part of it. Like the Stephanie McMahon announcement that you brought up, and like the Royal Rumble, and like it was bittersweet. I was just sitting back in Gorilla and I was just watching the screen, and I had tears in my eyes because I was just like, oh my gosh, like I'm never going to be a part of something like this again. And it's so hard because it's my whole life is wrestling, You will
always be a part of those things for forever. You are absolutely the foundation.
It's arguable to a lot of people when it comes to that. Like I always say, I'm like, okay, we all had a hand in the revolution, right? Yeah. But I will say Getting Divas a Chance wouldn't start trending if it wasn't for the four of us in that ring that day.
Correct.
Taking like control of what was happening.
Yeah.
So we got told, you have this amount of time. So we're like, okay. So we plan a match. Then we're like, well, you got this amount of time. And it's like barely even 2 minutes with entrances and exit. So we're just like, we're not going to tell a story. So we said, F this. We're going to come in, you're going to do the Bella Buster or whatever, and then we're going to do the pin and get the heck out of there.
Yeah.
Because why am I giving you my time if you don't appreciate it? You know what I mean? So like, we just got so sick of it, and we were like, all right, we're going to get in trouble for this. Fit was our producer, had no idea. He didn't know what was going on. So when we came back, he was like, what happened? And we were just like, oops. What happened?
Yeah.
You know, and so then it started trending. And then, you know, I'm so thankful we did it, because we made a big move there, and we could have gotten a lot of trouble, you know, and like a lot of the time, like fans haven't had female wrestlers backs, but at that moment they were just like, no, we respect you. We want you to thrive. Like, this is not okay. And they made like a trending topic for 3 days.
Yeah.
So it kind of forced like Vince and everyone to pay attention, being like, people want to see the women, and they want to see us wrestle too.
Yeah.
You know, and it helped that, you know, they were starting to see NXT, where Hunter was giving us the opportunity to actually have wrestling matches, you know, like me and Emma, and Emma did 2 matches, and then I'd have a match with Natty, and we were just like, we were wrestling, and people were starting to take notice of it. They were like, these girls can go, these girls can do it, you know? And so, yeah, I'm really grateful for that day that we just said, like, F it, we're going to take control of this situation, and it worked. And so after that, it kind of like, you know, snowballed, and then eventually they brought all the girls up, and was just like, okay, let's do this Divas Revolution thing. And so like, and then, you know, all of them, amazing wrestlers, all 4 of them, the 4 horsewomen, they came in and they got to do what they wanted to do straight out the gate, pretty much, you know? So like, again, they are a massive part of it. They're amazing wrestlers. They're a big part of it. But like, we kind of did the groundwork a little bit when it comes to igniting that fire. Right. You know? And so like, again, people can say whoever they want started it, but I believe it was me, the Bellas, and Emma that helped spark what needed to be sparked. We grinded and worked our ass off and kind of rebelled against the man, you know, and we got it done, and the fans. So yeah, arguably anyone can say the Divas Revolution started. I think everyone did it. It even goes as far back as Trish and Lita main event. And before that, you have Bull Nakano and, you know, Alundra Blaze. Like, we've had and Michelle McCall was another wrestler who was amazing. That was in the Divas era, you know, Beth Phoenix. We've had so many different women that are so talented that have ignited this revolution. And then it just took someone to like light the match. Right. You know, and I felt like that was us 4 that did that.
Right. And there was a gap. And I remember that this gap was very distinctly when I came in to like starting to be a big fan of professional wrestling. You know, Trish and Lita had retired. Beth was all but retired. And so, you know, we had the Divas, and there's nothing wrong with the way that they went in and had to do what they were doing. Yeah. But I remember distinctly when you came in, you know, wrestling fans are largely male, but for women like me, you know, when you came in, I was like, there is now a female wrestler that speaks to my sensibilities, who wants to fight, who wants to just, you know, you weren't interested in just being pretty. You were interested in being pretty and beating the shit out of people. Yeah. And like that absolutely for our generation sparked a new thing. It sparked a whole new wave of women's wrestling fans. But, you know, going back to what you said with, you know, it's a stereotype, but, you know, well-behaved women rarely make history. Like you've got that moment with you guys. You've got the moment with Trinity when she won the belt and they were like, you can't change it. And she was like, well, I'm going to do it anyway because they can't see it in my entrance. And it ended up being one of the most over things that they had ever gotten. Yeah. Like, there are so many little moments of women just going, I'm sick of you and I'm just going to do it myself.
I love when women stick up for themselves. Yeah, when we start rebelling a little bit. And it shouldn't even be called rebelling. It should just be like, we're just taking our power back, you know? Like, and it's just magical when I see that happen. I'm so proud. I was so proud of Trin and Mercedes when they did the walkout, you know, because they were just like, we're sick of being treated like this. And, you know, I'm so proud of Trin, especially because, you know, she went to TNA and like she just uplifted everybody, man. Like, she's amazing. And then she went back to WWE again, and she's killing it. Same with Mercedes. Mercedes coming into like AEW and doing her thing. And, you know, now she's got 4 championship belts on her body, which is awesome. But like, yeah, it's just nice to see like women be a success after rebelling. You know?
Another thing that just killed me, you know, when you found out that you were coming back, and one of the first people you reached out to was Sasha,
Mercedes.
Mercedes.
Oh, sorry, Sasha. Yeah. Even one.
It's such a difficult reality of wrestling that you will hurt people and it won't be your fault. But ending a career is just so much different.
It's rough.
And, you know, the fact that you just had that immediate moment, and now, you know, you've mentioned several times you're coming towards the end, and you've said publicly already, you know, I want Mercedes one more time.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I would love to have Mercedes one more time. And like, we have like a built-in story. And again, I felt awful for her because it wasn't her fault, and she was getting destroyed.
Yeah.
She was. And it sucks. And like, a lot of us have hurt someone in the wrestling ring. It comes with the territory. It is what it is. Unfortunately, my career ended, but then I wanted to reach out to her as soon as I got the news, because then it kind of, she was dealing with a lot of mental health issues, you know, and so I had to like, I just wanted to make her feel better. So I was like, listen, I'm back. Everything's okay. Yeah. You don't have to think about it anymore. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And she was over the moon. She was really happy, and she wants to go one more time too, you know, and I would love that. I love that because she's in a different part of her career too, where she just wants to friggin' have good matches and, you know, travel around to different companies and put girls over, you know, it's just like, and I'm in that stage too where I'm in a different stage. I'm in my last stage. So I would love to, that's the one thing in my career that I would love to do wrestling match wise is Mercedes. I would also like to run Natty back too. So if you're watching Natty, maybe one day I'll come over there and kick your ass.
I like it. So we're running out of time here, and I just really want to talk about how this book, it feels, it's ironic because, you know, chapters, whatever, but it feels like a new chapter for you. It feels like you turning a page and going into the next part of your career, whatever that may look like. You mentioned in the book you're interested in acting.
Yep.
What can you say about what's next?
So I have a few things in the pipeline, which I'm excited about. I do have some roles that I'm doing coming up. I can't say what it is, but I'm really excited. They're big roles, and had no idea I'd even get something like that. So I'm really excited going into the acting world, dabbling in that, which is something I've just always wanted to do. And also I have my show coming out called Rule Breakers, which is podcasting meets Jackass. So that's going to be really fun. We've already had a couple of guests on that have just gone through hell.
Yeah. No more.
no more electrocuting tires. No. But it does involve something like that. But and then also, you know, with the book coming out, like, I'm really excited for people to just read it. And I did leave some things out because there's just so much to put in there.
Yeah.
And I do want to do a part 2 of like everything, but there's a lot of things, like, I didn't want to throw too much down people's throats, you know, because there is a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of traumatic stuff in there too. So I'm like, okay, like, I can't like torture everybody. So I want to do a part 2, which I'm really excited about. But the book just has so much great things in there. Happy things, sad things, like stuff that'll make you mad. You know, it has a bunch of different, like, it'll make you feel something. But the one thing I want everyone to take away from it is to feel inspired. I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I want people to feel inspired by it, because I learned being a role model isn't about being perfect. It's actually being the complete opposite.
Yeah.
I went for a stage where I thought I was going to die, you know, and I was on a lot of drugs. I was drinking and stuff like that. And I realized, like, it's what you do once you get through it. Like, you know, you can show people that there is another side to this, that there is like a light at the end of the tunnel. And I just want people to be inspired. That's my main goal of this book.
Yeah. And, you know, you succeed. Like, the line that stood out to me most was, I'm this girl's role model.
Yes.
Like, just, and it's exactly what you just said. Like, it's not about being perfect. It's about showing, like, you can't achieve this. You never will achieve this. So just be the best version of you.
Exactly. No one's perfect, dude.
No.
Oh my God. If you're perfect, there's something wrong with it. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Saraya, thank you so much for your time today. This has been an absolutely wonderful interview. And for everybody at home, be sure to check out Saraya's book, Hell in Boots. It comes your way on March 25th. And for everything else wrestling, stick with IGN.